Okay, let's move on finally to grammatical range and accuracy. Here is the band descriptor, and the main ideas are, at band 7, we want to use a variety of complex structures. I will explain more about what complex structures means in a moment, but it's essentially two things. The first, most importantly, is complex sentences. Okay, the ability to form sentences which are not just short, simple sentences, but longer, more complex sentences. Okay, people driving fell, people walking rose, people cycling rose, people taking the bus stayed the same. These are all short, simple sentences. They are correct, they are grammatically perfect, but they're not really impressing the examiner. Forming longer sentences which contain multiple parts, multiple clauses, that's more impressive because it's more difficult. The second part of complex structures is just using a variety of structures. So things like verb forms. Now, with some diagrams, like process diagrams, you're going to be using present simple for pretty much everything, but there might be some opportunity to use present perfect or passive forms. So even with verbs, you can be flexible. With things like map questions, there's often opportunity for lots of grammatical variety. We've got a map in the past, we've got a map in the present, so lots of different verb forms are possible there. Present perfect for what has changed, present simple for what it's like now, past simple for what it's like in the past. So potential for grammatical variety there. But we've also got comparative forms, relative clauses, all of these complex structures to impress the examiner. However, like everything, there is a balance. You want to impress the examiner, but you also want to try and have error-free sentences. If you're not a native English speaker, you will have mistakes. Okay, it's almost impossible to avoid. The mistakes you make really depend on your language. If you're from a Slavic language, you're going to make mistakes with articles. If you're I don't know, Romance language, you're probably going to have problems with some of the verb tenses like present perfect and past simple, how those are used in English. It really depends. But try to minimize your most common mistakes and get them as low as possible. Even at band 9, we've got some rare minor errors. So nobody's expecting you to be perfect. In general, you want to demonstrate a good control of grammar and punctuation, even if there are a few errors. So you're demonstrating a basic understanding of the rules of how sentences are formed in English, including word order, verb tense, and structure. So in summary, we want to have a range of complex structures, but they need to be used accurately. We want to keep the number of errors as low as possible. It's never going to be zero. Even if you're a native speaker, if you edit while you're writing, we often make little mistakes. So don't panic if you've made some, but try to minimize them. Punctuation is a part of this. Certainly, if you're looking for above a band 6, then you should be showing the ability to correctly punctuate more complex sentences. If you have problems with this, we do have a grammar class on that topic. I think it's called Complex Sentence Punctuation, I think is the name. So let's look at some examples of task 1. The number of people walking increased while the number of people driving fell. Two clauses. Number 1, the number of people walking increased. Number 2, while the number of people driving fell. The linking phrase is while. So, interesting question for you. This comma, is it necessary or unnecessary? What do you think? That comma there, necessary or unnecessary?